All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're tackling one of the biggest, most hair-pulling frustrations in AI art. You know what I'm talking about. You create that perfect character, and then poof, they're gone in the very next render. We're going to break down a new method that totally changes the game. Seriously, we've all been there. You spend hours, maybe even days, tweaking a prompt. You finally get that face, the one that is just perfect for your character, and then it's gone. You try to get it back, but it's just never quite the same, is it? It's this awful cycle of re-rolling and just crossing your fingers. But what if there was a better way? You know, for a long time, our options have been kind of limited. We either have to train a custom Lora, which is super time-consuming and often just breaks the minute a new model comes out, or we use face-swapping tools as a fix after the fact, and both of those can lead to those weird glitches and artifacts. It always feels like you're just putting a Band-Aid on the problem, right? The new idea here is a total shift in thinking. Instead of fixing images after they're made, we're going to start directing the AI from the very beginning. It's all about orchestration, not just brute force. And this, right here, this is the core philosophy. This is the big idea. We're moving beyond just trying to match a face. The real goal is to create a consistent character, a digital actor that you can use across different scenes, in different outfits, maybe even in different styles. It's about getting the performance right, in camera, not just trying to fix it in post. So this is the metaphor that just unlocks the entire process. Stop thinking of yourself as just a prompter, fighting with a machine. Start thinking of yourself as a producer or a director who is assembling and guiding a whole creative team. I just love this concept. So let's meet the crew. Okay, so first things first. Every movie, every show, it needs a star. So our very first step is casting. This is where we define our character's core identity, long before they ever step onto the digital set. And it all begins in what the creator of this method calls the character vault. Just think of it like your own personal casting office. This is where you lay down the permanent foundation for every single actor you're ever going to use. It's where their core identity is born. And setting up a new character is actually a really simple one-time thing. First, you just write a detailed description of their core features. Their ethnicity, face shape, body type, all that stuff. This becomes their digital DNA. Then, and this part is really key, you add placeholders for the things that can change, like clothing or hairstyle. Finally, you give them a name, you save them to the database, and that's it. They're officially on your roster, ready for any role you throw at them. So yeah, that digital DNA concept is the most important takeaway here. It becomes the permanent, unchangeable source of truth for that character. It doesn't matter what scene you put them in later, this core description is the constant. It's what makes sure they always look like themselves. So once your actor is cast from the vault, they've got to head to wardrobe and makeup, right? Well, in this workflow, that's the job of the character select node. You literally just pick your actor from a drop-down menu, which loads up all their DNA, and then you just fill in those placeholders with whatever you need for that specific scene, like wearing a leather jacket or with messy, windblown hair. Okay, so our actors cast, they're in costume. Now it's time to head to the set and pull all these creative pieces together. This is where the real directing, the real magic happens. Right, so we have our character description all ready to go. But we also have notes from our other specialists, the cinematographer who is defining the shot, the set designer who's establishing the location. All of these separate notes get handed over to the most important member of our entire crew, the Auteur director. This table lays it all out beautifully. The Auteur director, which in the actual workflow is a node called the summary writer, takes all these separate inputs. It gets the character description from the scriptwriter, the camera angle from the cinematographer, the character's action from the director, and the mood from the set designer. Its whole job is to take all of that and synthesize it into one single artistically coherent prompt. And what's so cool is that this director isn't just blindly mashing text together. It actually operates based on a manifesto, a set of rules that ensures there's a clear artistic vision. So for example, one of its prime directives is that the shot composition is law. That means it's going to prioritize the framing and the camera angle, making sure the final image has a really strong cinematic feel. This is an AI with a point of view. How cool is that? Now look, this all sounds amazing in theory, but let's get practical for a minute. How does this system actually hold up in the real world? It's time for a little reality check with some questions you're probably already thinking. This is the big one, isn't it? You've got your favorite models that you love to use, and you want to know if you can use this workflow with them. And the honest answer is probably not all of them. The creator has confirmed it works really well with really powerful models like QN and Flux. The key thing seems to be that the model needs a really smart text encoder, something like a T5XXL clip, to actually understand the super detailed prompts that this system creates. That's another great question. You might notice that the example images, they're really consistent, but they aren't necessarily hyper-realistic with perfect skin pores and all that. So what's up with that? Well, the simple answer is that hyperrealism was never the point. This system was built from the ground up to solve for identity consistency, and that's a problem that exists in every style. Cartoons, anime, realism, you name it. If you want that hyper-realistic skin, you can totally still pair this workflow with other tools and LoRAs to get that specific look. This just handles the character part. And finally, the question on every power user's mind. How does this play with the tools we already know and love, like LoRAs for specific styles or concepts? And the answer is yes, absolutely you can. But here's a really important tip for getting the best consistency. If you create a character's digital DNA with a certain LoRA turned on, you should probably always use that same LoRA whenever you use that character. Just think of that LoRA as being part of their permanent identity. Okay, so let's pull back and just look at the big picture here. What does all of this really mean for how we make AI art? I think it's nothing short of a fundamental shift in our mindset. This slide just says it all. We are moving away from being a user who's just fighting with an algorithm, endlessly re-rolling and wrestling with prompts. With a method like this, you become the executive producer. You're the one assembling a team of AI specialists. You get to be the director with a clear creative vision. This really isn't just another little tool or trick. It is a whole new paradigm. It's an approach that puts narrative, creative control, and deliberate world building right at the very center of the process. You're not just making single disconnected images anymore. You're building a cast, and you're telling a story, shot by shot. This method completely changes the game. The tools are here, right now, to let you move from being a prompt technician to being a creative director. The only real limit is the story you want to tell, which, of course, leaves us with just one final question. You're the producer now. Who are you going to cast first?